It's been a long journey over this last year plus that I've been doing this channel. And I would greatly appreciate it, any of you out there, if you would hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It's first time here. I'm Lodonis, Ravenwold Dragonstorm, you seer and sage. Dragonstorm Narcissist Slayer. That's what I changed my name to for the algorithm, thanks to Scott. A lot of things I've learned. Today's going to be kind of a... it might be all over the place. So get ready. I'm going to take you for a ride. Shout out to Kayla. There's a woman that I streamed with the other day. When I kind of went back out into the YouTube sphere that I used to be in, that I don't really operate in all too much, although it's a lot different. The landscape is different. After the smear campaign and everything that I went through, and all the haters, and all the friends that turned on me, or people that I thought were my friends, all the stuff that you go through when you go through like a consistent smear campaign from a narcissist or narcissistic personality, all the things that I've had to deal with, catching up on myself. Like, I'm years late on a book that I'm working on and I'm trying to get out. There's things. My car broke down. I've got a lot on my mind, and I was up early this morning thinking two things. First off, shout out to Kayla, who I was on that stream with, and I didn't even want to go on that because I was uncomfortable, and she was really intuitive and called me right out on my uncomfortability. Because when I am uncomfortable, I push ego. I put my best foot forward. But intuitive people can see right through you. And she had said something about, I'd mentioned something about my type of personality. I took a personality test, and I'm a mediator. I can't remember exactly what it is, what the letters are. But she said, I said, well, I was joking, and I said, I'm a mediator. I thought I was a dick. And she said, I don't see you as a dick. You're an authentic person, and your authenticity triggers toxic people into not liking you. And that was really nice for a stranger to say. And I don't know how long that's ever been. I don't know, because when we go through narcissistic abuse, or we go through a toxic relationship, or something that like breaks us down to our lowest common denominator, we have to accept a lot of things. Like, we let ourselves get broken down to that point. We weren't a good friend to ourselves. We didn't recognize red flags. We didn't recognize the things that we should have. We kind of let ourselves down. So, I mean, I think I'm pretty authentic. But you guys decide. Let me know in the comments. And as I go on this diatribe, I realized this last night, as I couldn't sleep because I'm getting ready to go, get on a train and use public trains because I ain't got to ride no more. If you guys would like to help me out with that, there will be a link for a PayPal and Cash App in the description. If you could, I would appreciate it. Anything would help. But that's another thing. I've had to ask for money over and over again over the years because I was financially abused. I was also dumb enough to give money over and over again to a toxic ex. A lot of things happened between me and this toxic ex, and the person she triangulated me with, and also the friends that left my side, and also the flying monkeys and the other narcissistic or toxic people that, like, she enlisted to help with her smear campaigns to defend her effed up name, while she was triangulating me with not just like one dude, but actually a few other dudes. She triangulates dudes together. You know how them narcissist tricks are. But this dude that, like, he's beating her in the face until it finally got to a point where she had to do a video saying that I was the bad guy. 50 minutes to explain how I was the bad guy because her boyfriend punches her in her face because he loves her. Like, craziness. Look, the things that you will learn about yourself and other people when you get through this. Anyway, going back to it, last night, I realized that I didn't hate. Like, the hate's gone. I don't hate anymore. And not only do I not hate, but because I don't have that anger, because that emotion isn't clouding me, I can see things that I've never really been able to see before. Not just in, like, what happened, but with other people. And that's kind of what I'm working up to and explaining to you guys, is when the hate is gone, when the anger is gone, and you really get down to who you are, like you're the most authentic self, the authentic version of yourself that you get to, then you can see things in retrospect and in present day that you may not have caught on to before, like red flags and behaviors and stuff like that. And I don't know if this will happen with you, depending on like what you went through. But for what I went through, like because I don't hate no more, I actually look back and I can appreciate some moments that I had with Narc X. What call her narcopath. Oh, she loves that title. And you may ask yourself, like, how can you appreciate moments with somebody who was a con artist, who lied to you and cheated on you and smeared you and collected your enemies and ran the same routine over and over again, love bombing you, breadcrumbing you, saying they love you, saying they're your friend, creating chaos, ghosting, blaming on you, collecting, flying monkeys, people to come at you. Look, you absolutely can, because the lessons that I have learned throughout this experience have been so valuable to understanding myself, my own weaknesses, but also being able to recognize things in other people. Case in point, there was this red flag, one of many, that I completely let go. We were on a StreamYards because we lived in two different states at this point. And that was, the distance. Narcs love distance because that way they can play their games with other people and do whatever they do without you around. But there was this one time we were on the StreamYards and she was smoking her drugs. I'm not gonna say what kind of drugs. She was smoking her drugs, and she was doing it topless. And be honest with you, like I mean, she's great nitties, But anyway, she's doing it topless, and she, I told her, I said I thought it was so hot, because I was screwed up in the head, you know what I mean? This blonde, smoking drugs through a glass pipe, and but topless, and I was like, that's hot. She was like, I really like you. You're an enabler. If somebody says they like you because you're an enabler, that is a red flag. Because toxic people look for enablers. They look for co-signers. Anyone who will dismiss their outlandish toxic behavior, anybody that will dismiss their whatever they're doing, they love enablers. And there's like two kinds of enablers, guys. There are the fools, like I was, the loyal fool, that will see the best in, or bullshit themselves into believing somebody's something that they're not, like a good person or whatnot. The loyal fool, right? The trauma bonded person. There's that kind of enabler, but there's also toxic enablers. Now, toxic enablers, they actually hate each other. Okay, birds of a feather do flock together. So when you see your toxic ex around other people, understand there may be an exception to a rule. There may be a trauma bonded person in there, or someone who is just so blind and so believing with weak boundaries, or wants to be accepted, has some kind of insecurity issue. There might be one of those in the crowd, but trust and believe, birds of a feather flock together. Toxic people go in groups and they hate one another. They will stab one another. They will be rid of one another. They will love to see the other one fall. If you're dealing with a toxic woman, first off, red flags for a toxic woman. All her exes were crazy or narcissists or bad people. All her exes cheated on her and let her down. She has nothing but dude friends. A lot of them are her ex. Okay, the red flags for a woman. All right, always the victim. She's sleeping with most of them dudes. Do not doubt that a woman who has a lot of dude friends is not sleeping with a lot of those dudes. All right. I believe in the random 1%. There may be an exception to that rule out there, but listen, you just go err on the side of caution and believe that. So there might be dudes in that group that like co-sign to it because they know they're going to get a BJ later, or they know that, I've literally stood in a room. I'm proud to admit this, but this is my history. I have stood in a room with other dudes who played the part that narcopath needed them to play, because they knew at some point I wouldn't be around and they would get up in an ass like that. And toxic dudes will do this too. I've seen like manipulative, cheating ass, lying ass, low class men do this too with women. Like it's a game to them. And if you find like a pair that are really sick, like within a cluster, they will do it to each other. They will play that same game with one another, lying and manipulating and cheating, and in the same room with a whole bunch of people that they're sleeping with, or they were sleeping with, or they will be sleeping with. It's sick. And if you find yourself in that cluster, get out. Recognize it and get out. Trust your gut. Toxic people love enablers. They absolutely do. It's crazy, right? Because this guy, this really toxic guy that I've dealt with for years, his name's Ethan. He's definitely a narcissist who has collected all these different people underneath him in waves over years, and he's stabbed a lot of them, smear campaigned them. He's constantly jealous. He's a grown toddler, narcissistic dude, right? Mommy issues, grown toddler, probably putting something up his ass when nobody's looking. You know what I mean? He jumped in on the whole smear campaign with Narcopath. Sent one of his henchmen, John, right, who is currently going against Ethan at this time, because the rats are abandoning shit. They don't stick together. Narcissistic and toxic people do not stick together. Well, this dude John was coming after me because he saw somebody who was ready to themselves, and he wanted to get a piece of the pie. He also wanted to appease Ethan, his master, so he latched on a Narcopath. Funny story. When I was clowning living hell, if you all remember a couple months ago, I beat up a narcissist and all that stuff. When I was clowning the living hell out of the narcopath's bitch, that her slave, her other narc, the guy she triangulated me with, I don't know, whatever you want to call him, whatever you want to call him. He was so butthurt that I was calling him out on social media, just calling him out for who he was, for the bitch that he was. Like, his kids had to come to him and be like, "Yo, Dad, why are you getting clowned all over the internet?" That he reached out to this dude John, and Narcopath said, "Well, my God, you idiot, what are you doing? Like, no, don't talk to him," because she knew that dude John is a backstabbing, narcissistic piece of shit. She knew because she was smarter. If I had to call them both narcs, which I think they are, she's the covert, he's the overt, so she's actually like more intelligent and being the woman a little more manipulative, emotionally manipulative, and he's just like a meth addict, you know what I mean? So he's not that smart. He's really not that smart. And so she knew, she understood. When it comes to enabling between toxic groups, they will enable each other. Absolutely, they'll enable each other. That fake friend that stabbed you in the back, that one that didn't like you for years, but like set you up for a fall, or watched the fall happen, and then when the time was right, when you were at your lowest, turned his back on you, stabbed you in the back, did everything he could, or she could, whatever the case is. They too need enablers. They need people around them that are going to co-sign to their narrative. They need it. Birds of a feather flock together. There may be an exception to the rule. Okay, exceptions to the rule. Exempt. I have this thing called exempt status. There are certain people that I still consider friends, because I've never seen them directly attack me. I believe that they have been probably, I would say most likely, defensive or defending my name in rooms that I'm not in, which is a sign of a true friend. But there are certain people that have an exempt status with me. I don't understand their moves, and I see who they're hanging around, and I know those people are toxic, or at least malleable, manipulative, or manipulated by other toxic people. But listen, I will say this. You've got to have certain people. Watch what people do, right? Actions, not words. Watch how people move. You should always have certain friends that you just have to trust. And if it gets you in the end, it gets you in the end. But there's certain people in your life that you should just have to trust, and just trust them. You may not understand their moves. You don't understand why they're hanging around garbage people, but you just let it go. You have to trust in faith that they're actually a good person. And one day, there's got to be a reason that they're around these toxic people, but one day they're going to figure it out. It's whatever it is. Or maybe those people haven't been targeted yet. They haven't been targeted by that toxic group yet. You don't know. There's always that random 1%. Also, understand, there are people in your life that are addicted to drama. They're addicted to drama. They're going to poke you. They're going to poke at you. I'm not talking about an habitual line stepper. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I mean people who test your boundaries and look for weaknesses. Sometimes, every now and again, they're doing it to see if you're still strong. But like any type of toxic person, they telegraph their moves. You can tell that something's about to happen, and when it happens, you bring your mind right back to something that they said or did leading up to that event. You're like, okay, now I understand what that person was doing. Those types of people, now you might not want drama in your life, but it's good to have one or two of them around. It really is. Depending on your level of healing, your state of healing. If you are healed, you are authentic, you are strong, you love yourself, you're a friend to yourself, it's good to have one or two of those people around, because they're going to test you. They're going to test your mettle. They're going to test your strength. And as long as they are not an habitual line stepper, and they bring something, positive, or there is some kind of positive exchange, mutual exchange there, then keep them around. Why not? Not everybody, and don't have a whole bunch, because then you're just gonna have a whole bunch of problems. But really, people who have that little itch, that love drama, that they're gonna check you. They're gonna chest bump you just a little bit. They're gonna poke at you just a little bit, just to see if you're healed and okay. And that's actually a positive thing, believe it or not. Now, if you're around somebody who's an habitual line stepper who doesn't understand that you have boundaries, right? And that is a person like a narcissistic type of person who constantly tries to push the boundary a little further, talk trash about you, talk trash around you. It'll start out with making comments about things that you like or people that you like or something that you like, and having an opposite opinion to that, disparaging it, trying to lower its value in the conversation, whatever that outside thing or that opinion may be. And that's fine. Stand your ground, because not every battle is worth fighting. Really. Don't let them affect you. You can suss out a toxic person if that boundary pushing keeps increasing and just keeps increasing. And especially if you know how to deal with a toxic person, which is, how do you deal with them? No contact. You don't say nothing. You don't feed them negative fuel. You don't give them the reactions they're looking for. You outright ignore them without making it overly obvious that you're outright ignoring them. They will continue to push those boundaries. Some toxic people are looking to get into the toxic club. Okay? They're looking to see if they can aggravate you or aggravate a person so that they can get in with the other people who have aggravated you in the past before you were unhealed, because they want to be in that club. They want to be around shit disturbers. They want to be around other, habitual line steppers. They want to get in that club. And if you deny them access, these types of people, right? The ones that come at you, especially if you're going through a internet stalking, gang stalking type of situation where there's a lot of people coming at you. If you ignore them long enough, then they won't be able to serve a function to the toxic clique they're trying to get into. So if you just ignore them long enough and you just don't react to it at all, they will eventually fall. Like they will eventually, like the toxic clique they were trying to get into that was gang stalking you or internet stalking you or coming after you, like they're going to lose interest in that other person, and that person's going to lose their power, and that's why you don't emotionally react. Control your fifis, ladies and gentlemen. Control your emotions. Control your reactions. Respond. Don't react. It is, God, the key to everything. But that person, right, they're going to continue to push those boundaries and come at you. And eventually they're going to get so starved if you don't feed them the negativity that they want, that they'll outright start poking at you, like accusing you of things, saying you're saying or doing things that you're not doing, trying to project things onto you. And that's when you put the hammer down. If you so choose, if you still have to deal with that person, if you still have to deal with that situation, you put the hammer down, you put your boundaries down. Look, this is what it is. This is who it is. And if you push past these boundaries, I'm going to block you. I'm going to cut you out of my life. It ain't going to be nothing. I've had to do that several times over the last year, as I was healing, and then after I healed and got to a point of personal strength. Look, these are my boundaries, bitch. Like, I don't care. I know you hang out with these other toxic crews, and you guys sit around and jerk each other off and talk trash about whatever you talk trash about and have fun with your toxicity and your negative viewpoints and negative opinions and reinforce each other's garbage. That's fine. When you come here, when you come into Walton's house, no. No, I will block you. I have lost so many people in my life. I do not mind losing a few more. And when you do that, you find out what your value is to that person. You will find out what your value is to that person. If they continue to press you, cut them out. If they calm the fuck down, now you're dealing with a toxic person, a toxic and aggressive person. They're gonna try and brush it off, or they're gonna try and act tough about it. And it's really up to you how you deal with it. Either you cut them out, or you just confront it. If they're a person that is of a toxicity level that is manageable, like they have issues, but you accept those issues. We all have damage. We all have damage. You can't get through this life without having some. So if it's a person that you love enough, that you see enough positive qualities in, that you can just work through and accept with that person, and just you can talk to them on some human level, then do it. If it's a person that just they need to know and they need to be put in their place, you treat narcissistic and toxic people like they're children. If they're acting like children, you treat them like children. You put them in the corner. You put them in the corner. Narcissists and toxic people understand this behavior well. That's why you get ghosted. That's why they stop talking to you. That's why they ignore you. That's why they'll change their number. That's why they'll they try to trigger abandonment. They try and devalue you in that way. That's why they do that, because they're actually weak to it. A toxic person will project everything that they hate, every insecurity about themselves. They will project it onto you. It's very easy to see. It is so easy to see. I was in a chat. I was on a panel not too long ago where one of the flying monkeys of Narc X came through and was trying desperately to get any attention, using every thank God he's an alcoholic. He's not really that smart. But he's trying every toxic possible thing he can to trigger from the past, not realizing that I healed. And that is another thing, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Toxic people will never understand that you can heal, that you have raised your resonance, you have elevated, that you have come back, that you're a better version of yourself than you've ever been, because those who refuse to heal can't conceive of that, right? It's why narcissists do what they do, psychopaths, sociopaths. It's why toxic people do what they do, because they cannot even fathom healing. They're not healed. They don't know what love is. They don't know what self-love is. They don't know what respect is. They don't know what being honorable is. To them, everything's twisted. Everything's a 180. Good is bad and bad is good to them, because that's they're unhealed and that's what they see. But they're also stuck. A lot of them are stuck in this position where they can't see it. They bullshit themselves first off because they need to believe, right? They create that delusional world because they need to believe what they need to believe. They need to project stuff onto you. They can poke you and poke you and poke you, but you're actually the narcissist, or you're actually the problem, or you're actually the toxic person. You understand the game. But they cannot conceive of it. So this toxic alcoholic I've been ignoring, because you just ignore these fools, was trying every single thing he could think of to be triggering, that he had created in his mind, or that had worked in the past that had hurt me, that I have now healed from. And just let it go. Because listen, guys, I know that these types of people can be frustrating. They're idiots. They're morons. They're fools. Some of them aren't idiots, but they're emotionally unregulated. And you always, we'll go over this in a minute. You are always more intelligent than a toxic person, no matter what their IQ is, what their outreach is, how well they can speak, doesn't matter. You are always smarter than a toxic person because you can regulate your emotions. That is key. Emotional control, controlling your fee-fees, absolutely key. But people like that can't see it. They can't heal. They can't imagine healing. They don't understand what a healed version of someone is. They don't know what a healed version of themselves is. So imagine the power that you have. And I know you want to, sometimes you should call them out, but you are giving them what they want by giving them negative fuel. But just, if you ignore them, or if you want to mess with them a little bit, if you just mention their name and just tickle them and then ignore them, that really does invalidate their entire experience, everything that they're trying to do. Imagine the power that you have over one of these types, where they need to hound you, to try and clown you. They need to devalue. And in their head, they are. In their head, they're affecting you. They're delusional. The power that you have over those who have stalked you, gang stalked you, smear campaigned you, lied about you, that had their heyday when, if you're talking about a narcissistic ex and they're flying monkeys, when they had their heyday, when they were all talking trash and smearing your name and turning people against you, and you know what I mean, and creating this false image of you, all the projection that they did. They live in that moment. All right, they live in that moment, like Ryan Johnson will forever live in knowing that he utterly, just completely and utterly destroyed Star Wars with The Last Jedi. All right, that narcissist will never top that moment. And so when you're dealing with like flying monkeys, you like and narcissistic type people, they get to a certain height, they get to a plateau when you're still trauma bonded, you're still hurt, or if you're under attack by them, smear campaign, they get to a height, and then you heal. And those of us that can, some of us lose our lives and never come back, or never come back from it. But and I pray for them. But if you can, when you heal, they don't understand. They have no power anymore. Watch these dancing clowns in this burning circus, like an avatar full of Riris, waving their hands in the air, trying desperately to get your attention. And laugh. Laugh, but don't laugh at them. Don't laugh to them. Laugh to yourself. Take all your power back. Karma. I'm watching this narcissist EVS. I'm watching this guy. He's now this dude had a big following. He had hundreds of thousands of followers on YouTube, or subscribers on YouTube. He was like I say D-list famous, in his own right, and he collected a lot of toxic people under him. All the toxic people are fleeing the ship at this point, and he's getting attacked from every direction, which is rightfully so. All right. First off, narcissists get their karma. Toxic people get their karma. Believe in it. You ain't got to see it. I luckily am getting to see at least this. I am getting to watch the circus burn down, and it's a glorious experience. Because it's rare that we see narcissists who have hurt us, get what they have coming to them. But understand this too: as the rats flee the ship, as the rats flee that ship, don't forget who those rats were. They're still rats. So I'm seeing a lot of people who are like all up and behind EVS for the longest time, this narcissist, that were, on panels with him, promoting him. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't an experience that took place between some of these people where they realized there was nowhere to go with this guy and that he was just going to create drama and backstab and smear him. I'm not saying that didn't happen. That probably did occur. You hang out with garbage, you're going to get filthy. But if you're hanging around somebody that long, you know what a person's like. Okay? Do not believe that a person or people that break away from a toxic individual have changed. Now, people can change. Absolutely. All right? I mean, leave the random 1%. Leave in your mind. Sometimes people do change. But most of the time, when we talk about birds of a feather, when they collect together, and then there's no more use for a toxic person in their unit, then they're going to burn that other toxic person to the ground. They're going to turn an about face, and they're going to burn that person. So there's no more use. There's more advantage to hating the narcissist at this point, the EVS narcissist, than there is sticking around with them. But that does not mean that those people that were once hanging around for years and promoting him and streaming with him and knowing exactly what he was doing, the smear campaigns and the smear networks, there's not a damn reason why those people are not still rats. They're still rats. They're still rats. Understand that. Just because you see the flying monkey or the drama toxic network of a narcissistic type person fall away does not mean that everybody sees the light now. And I don't want to be like that person. Those people are still toxic. Protect yourself. Understand that. Unless they prove consistently through actions that they are not that way. Remember, actions, not words. I learned so many wonderful things from my experience with Narcopath. Amazing. EVS himself, for instance. EVS, the last time he tried to clown me, just real quick, the last time he tried to clown me, he put out a tweet and he was talking about my narc ex. Well, it's your fault that you tried to make a hoe into a housewife and embarrassed yourself, and you were manipulated. She took all your money and she sleeps with dirt. At one time, he was helping her out to smear my name. Doesn't matter. Toxic people do not respect one another. Unhealed people do not respect each other at all. His henchman, John, who has turned on him, was smearing my name with Narc X. Narc X warned her, her closet gay meth addict boyfriend, whatever he is, that not to contact John because I was clowning the living shit out of him, because she understands that is not her friend, that's an enemy. There was only a mutual benefit to everybody coming at me at that time. They will burn each other to the ground. Don't worry about the narcissist getting their karma. They will burn each other to the ground. You can't live in a cycle of destruction, just eating people alive, destroying people in order to sustain yourself, your false ego, your false self. You cannot, without eventually being seen for what you are, running out of supply. It may take a long time. It may take a lifetime, but it's not for you to even care about. While we're being authentic, listen, there are some personality types out there, like myself. I have struggled with this, that need a little bit of vengeance, need a little bit of revenge. Now, when you're dealing with narcissists, you're dealing with people who like live on toxic, live on negative fuel, the exchange of energy and this and that. Look, I'm not recommending that you fight with these people, but there are ways to hurt them. There absolutely are. Exposure hurts them. I'm not saying all. I know we all have different situations and different types of narcs. There's like malignants and stuff out there. Like, I get that. But exposure really does hurt the living shit out of them. It really does. People knowing them for who they are, break it, because their whole thing is constructing this fantasy world, this illusion that they back up with lies and smear campaigns and other BS. That's their whole thing, is creating an illusion. If you break that illusion, if you shine light on that cockroach, all right, when you turn a light on, what do cockroaches do? They scatter. If you do that to a narc, if you do that to a toxic person who needs to have that false ego and live an illusion, look, they can't stand it. They can't deal with it. You can hurt them. You absolutely can. There is ways to get revenge or vengeance if you really want it, but listen, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. But I've done it. All right, little bit of dogma coming out of Dragonstorm, but I have. But when it comes down to it, like the healthy way of getting revenge, guys, the healthy way, live your life. Feel good about yourself. Continue on. Work on your projects. Outshine the darkness. These people are dark. Any type of shine that they put off is a false light. All right, it's a dead light, like out of it. They're the dead lights. And eventually going to destroy people around them, suck the life force out of them. They're going to get exposed for who they are. This is inevitable. Everybody does. But if you continue on, if you be real, authentic, work on things, to generate positivity and shine, there's nothing that they can do. I have watched personally those who were my friends, those who have hated me, flying monkeys, and I have gone through so many different phases in this that I've seen some of them just shrink and shrivel. Just shrivel. Go right back. One of my fake friends swore that, he wouldn't give me a reason for why he stabbed me, but, swore that I was the problem and that I didn't think of him the way that I thought of him. It was all projection. I thought he was weak or he was just a dumb attack dog or something, and it was all projection. That's what he thought of me. And I've seen him interact over the months when I was growing Dragonstorm with the very flying monkeys that were doing the smear campaigns. To this day, still, likes and interacts with them on social media. I every now and again I look. Every now and again. But the attention has grown smaller and smaller, and the circle has faded. And that person has now gone back into the old circle that still accepted him from before he went into that entire smear campaign, because he has nowhere else to go. If you do not feed toxic people your attention, if you do not validate their existence, if you continue to work on yourself and you excel and you grow and you prosper, there is nothing for these people to draw off of. There's nothing for them to draw off of. It's like a toxic soil, right? Okay, if everyone's a tree, if we're all trees, and the roots of a person is envy and jealousy and anger and unhealed traumas and projection and gaslighting and blaming other people for their stuff, right? No fruit is going to grow from that tree. No fruit. The only time that fruit is anywhere around that tree is when they are taking it from someone else. When you're shaking the tree, the pears out of your tree. It's the only time. But you're going to prosper if the foundation, if your roots are positivity and growth, self-reflection, healing, working on yourself, doing what you have to do, you will bear fruit. You will continue to grow. You're going to get to a point. Like I knew it, but I didn't realize it until just last night. It's like, I don't care. I'm not angry anymore. You're going to get to that point where you're not angry. And you really are your authentic self. And when you are an authentic person, healed, unhealed, got things to work through. If you have weak boundaries like I did, if you believe people and took them at their word like I did, but I was authentic. If you are an authentic person, you will irritate toxic people because they're fake, An unhealed person who's being authentic like I was can still be fake. Like I was to a degree because I was not facing the traumas and doing the things I needed to do to heal myself. And it took a narcissistic sociopath to come into my life and for me to bang my head up against this wall of drugs and degenerate sex over and over again, and letting it back into my life and destroying my life and being torn down. It took all that, but I healed, rebuilt myself. You can too. No matter how far you get torn down, you'll heal. You'll find that strength again, and at some point you're not going to care about that ex, or you're not going to care about that person who hurt you, whether it was a friend. It's different things with standing, like with family members, and you still have to deal with them or not, to gray rock them or whatnot. But listen, you keep working on yourself. You find your authentic self. You become more authentic. And understand, as you heal and become more authentic, you are now going to rub more people even wrong. Because how dare you survive a horrible situation? How dare you not only survive, but thrive being destroyed? Especially if they jumped in on the fun and tried to smear you and destroy you in some other way. How dare you? You're gonna piss off even more people, but it's okay. Once you see people and how they move, once you understand when someone says something to you that pings your mind, it doesn't feel right. Why would you say this? This is not anything that I had said before. Did you misread what I read? Did you mean to misread what I wrote? Did you mishear what I said? Did you not understand, not contemplate what I was going? You're going to see it. It takes me back to a moment, about a year ago, when I was in a chat. I was in a rogue chat, the old rogue chat. And there was literally 5 to 6 people in this chat literally misreading what I was writing, directly what I was writing, hearing what they wanted to hear, seeing what they wanted to see, insinuating what they needed to, projecting, because they were all on the same false narrative about me. And it was confusing. I couldn't understand it. It boggled me. It made me want to wonder, am I going insane? Am I not communicating right? No. It's because they were all toxic. And if they weren't toxic, they were believing in someone who was. And that is the power of the mind. Do not let other people dictate who you are, how you think, your value. If we learn anything through going through narcissistic abuse, it is do not let someone else dictate your worth. Believe in yourself. Heal up. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Leave one, maybe two people who like drama in your circle, because they're going to kick up the dust and they're going to challenge you every now and again. And sometimes we need that challenge. But never let anyone dictate your worth or who you are. And understand, the more haters that you have, the more people that are irritated by your authenticity and who you are, how strong you are, the survivor that you are, that is a point of pride. That's a point of pride. Those people are unhealed, and they will never be able to understand, recognize, or realize how you survived what you did and how far you've come. They're always going to be stuck at some toxic, immature level, and they're never going to grow from that. You can, and you have, and you did. Words, not actions. And sometimes appreciate the lessons. You have to appreciate the lessons that you learned in your life, even from people who have manipulated and hurt you. I would not have gotten to the point that I am right now. I would not have gotten through the last two Hoovers, to be honest, if I did not recognize with open eyes what Narcex was doing, who she actually was, that she didn't care, that this was all a game, it was manipulation. I'm always going to be the bad guy. I'm the one who's emotionally unregulated. I'm the one who doesn't understand what she's saying. I'm the one I'm actually the narcissist. All of that. I just saw it right away. And it got to a point where the grand discard happened. And she actually brought the guy she'd been triangulating me with over to this house for some damn reason. Of course, coming back to me because I'm the bad guy, right? And I got to knock on his jaw and his face a few times. Am I proud of that? Yeah, actually, I loved it. And thank you for that. Because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have realized my own strength, to be honest. Because I had held back the entire time. But I wouldn't have been able to get to that point and walk away from that situation and stood out front going, dun, 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 as these clowns were hitting each other. I love you. I love you. And watching this circus unfold, and the short fallout from that, and just brushed it off. Been thankful. Your narcissist is your trash collector. You learn wonderful life lessons dealing with these people. You learn boundaries. You learn self-worth. You learn how to be a friend to yourself and to love yourself. They do serve a function. These trash, garbage-ass people lying-ass, deceitful people do serve a function, making you stronger, more authentic, and a better version of yourself. And I think that's about it. One day, you're not going to be angry or sad. You're not going to miss. And you're going to be able to look back because you're not angry and you're not sad and you're not traumatized or wrapped up in it, and see the positives from dealing with one of the worst periods of your life. Remember that, my brothers and sisters. And if it's your first time here, hit the like button, subscribe if you will. Support me if you would. GoFundMe and PayPal in the description. And I'm Lodonis Ravenwolf Dragonstorm, you seer and sage. Hail to my fellow survivors and thrivers from narcissistic abuse. Remember to wash your hands, wash your ass, be good to each other, and suffer no fools. Peace.